Low clarinets, selection 2, from the rows 32 etudes. Now don't be upset. Etude is the French word for study. So for some reason, some of them are called etudes and some of them are called studies, and it doesn't matter at all. This is number 27. This slow etude offers many opportunities for musical playing. The utmost attention should be given to rhythmic and style markings while not limiting the performance to only what is written on the page. If you deliver exactly what's on the page and that's all, you will deliver an accurate and boring performance. The character instructions given at the beginning, pleasingly and with taste, describe very well how this etude should be approached. Phrasing and musicality should be top priority. Measure 7 indicates a slide needed between the D sharp and C sharp on beat 1. This can be done by the right hand, or the left D sharp can be used if available on the instrument. Some do, some don't. Mine doesn't, which makes it possible to play beat 1 and 2 without sliding. That's even true on soprano clarinets. A few of them do have the extra keys. Side F sharps should be used in anywhere that they are juxtaposed with an E sharp. E sharp is, what's the other name for E sharp? F, so open G, F, second side key from the bottom. Played with the knuckle of your first finger. That's E sharp, F sharp, with the possible exception of measures 19, 20. Measure 10, beats 2 and 3 require that the student use the right hand B and left hand C sharp in order to get to the G sharp in beat 3 easily. The use of a fork B should be considered in measure 24 and 37 when the next note is an A sharp. What's the other name for A sharp? B flat. So here's B flat, A sharp. There's your chromatic B. That's useful. If you aren't familiar with it or barely familiar with it, get familiar. It'll do you a lot of good, and you've got a couple of months to get this thing working. The turn in measure 31 happens on the upbeat of count 4 and includes the following notes: E, F sharp, E, D sharp, E. Likewise, the turn in measure 32 happens on the upbeat of count 4 and includes the following notes: F sharp, G sharp, F sharp, E, F sharp. In facilitating this turn, use as little wrist motion movement as possible. And then my added comments. The challenge in these slow etudes is rhythm. There is no such thing as B plus rhythm. There's only A and F. You either right or wrong. Wrong is either lost, big time wrong, or sloppy, small time wrong. Use your metronome and insist on perfect. If you hate your metronome, learn to fall in love with it. It's a good friend. It's not going to compromise with you, but it's also, unlike conductors, it's not going to throw things at you, so that's nice. Going through the piece, a few tips. In measure 3, don't use your chromatic F sharp or chromatic B. So you will flip in those spots. Also measure 28. Our old friend right hand B is useful in measures 6, 8, 10, 11, 16, 22, 23, and 34. Chromatic F sharp is useful in 7 and 13. Chromatic B in 24 and 37. Measure 18 desperately calls for 1 and 1 D sharp and right hand B. So 1 and 1, the D sharp or E flat. E, first finger right hand, and then right hand B over here. This one's on vacation. And right hand B. I put the paper down now, I have to find where I am again. There it is. This presupposes that your bridge key has the right amount of cork so that your 1 and 1 fingering can work. If it isn't working, get it into the shop this week. Don't wait for November. You can be practicing it well for the next 2 months with the right tools in a good shape. Practice the slide in measure 7. It can be perfect, but you want a long track record of success. You don't want it to come together at the last possible minute and then self-destruct in the next minute. The turns in measure 31 and 32 should be practiced early and often. Mathematically, you will take the written quarter note in your mind, turn it into 2/8 notes. The second of those eighths will be broken down into 4 32nd notes. Don't panic. Turns go from the written note to the upper neighbor in the key signature, back to the written note, the lower neighbor, back to the written note, and on to the next written note. So the 32 turn would be E, eighth note, F sharp, E, D, E, and on to the notated F sharp in the next measure. The 32nd turn would have the same shape, the 32, yes, same shape and be F, E, G sharp, F sharp, E, F sharp, resolving on a G sharp. A bit tricky, but doable, and well worth practicing it ahead of time.